What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Full Throttle Auto. My name is Harris, and today we're doing another wheel setup for the Honda Accord. That's right, we got some new wheels, and there's a good reason for that, and I'll explain in a moment. We have the new wheels. I did go with Koenig this time around. And the reason we picked up new wheels, it's not that I don't like these. I actually really like this design. It's just simply they don't clear the big brakes. The big brakes themselves they're the Brembos from off of a Hyundai Genesis. And because they're direct bolt-on, the spokes here don't actually fit properly, so I had to use a spacer, and I don't like spacers. I don't trust spacers. I don't like spacers. I've been driving on spacers for almost a year now, so I wanted to get wheels that are going to be able to clear those brakes without any spacers. Now, I'm hoping I did good here. I'm hoping these will work. I cannot say for sure. I haven't tested them yet. I have the car up, but I wanted to make sure I get you guys this video, so I'm not sure. Nobody could confirm for me what wheel setup would work, what wheel setup wouldn't work. I can tell you this. I did pick up some NK Raijin. I don't remember the exact name. They were 18 by 9.5 with a 35 offset, and they did not clear those brakes. However, these are 18 by 9 with they're 18 by 9 with a 25 offset. And they are the, the 7-spoke design. So I am super excited about this. I was at first hesitant about this design, but it's kind of growing on me. I feel like it's going to work really well. So let's go ahead and test fit these on the Accord. All right, I got the wheel off and the old wheel's off. Now we're going to go ahead and test these on there. I don't want to scratch any. Oh, there it is already. We're already dinging. And oh man, there it is. They're fully on, and there's more than enough clearance. That's crazy. That's more clearance than right now with the spacers. I'm certain of it. I'm certain that that's more space than with the current wheels with the spacer. So current wheels with the spacers, at the lowest point where it's gonna hit, we have about half an inch maybe? Let's say about a half an inch before it hits. So half an inch here at the lowest point on those. That's a 15 mil spacer on the front. This no spacer, 25 offset, we have almost 3/4 of an inch of clearance. So you could run these wheels with a 30 offset and still clear it, and then you won't have any issues with, because I am gonna have a little bit of poke, so we are gonna have to do fender roll on these. I'm gonna have my guys at MXPI help me out with that. And then in the back, I believe these are gonna clear with no issues, because I did have those the ones I have on now with a 20 millimeter offset, and it was just barely rubbing on a turn. Not while driving straight, but when I turned, there was a little bit of rub with a 20 millimeter spacer. So I haven't put on a 15 millimeter spacer back there. I just run it without spacers, and the fronts are the only ones with spacers. But I'm thinking with 20 millimeter spacer, and it was just rubbing, these being a 25 millimeter offset, I don't think it'll rub in the back. But if it does, we'll go ahead and fender roll all 4 corners. And I do have tires. So on these wheels are 18 by 8.5 with a 35 millimeter offset. And I'm running 235 4518.
Sorry about this weird cut in the middle of this video. Not how I wanted to do it, but for some reason the camera stopped recording when I was telling you guys the different wheels or the different tires that I got for the car. So as I was saying, the current setup was 235 4518. It was a Toyo Extenza HP2, and for these wheels we ended up going with a Bridgestone Potenza RE970AS pole position. They are all season still, but instead of 500 thread wear, which is on the Toyos, on these Bridgestones it's 400 thread wear, so we are going to have better dry performance, a little better stickiness during when it heats up. And they are 265/40 by 18, so we're going 30 millimeters even wider for that contact patch, so which should give us really good traction. Now let's go back to the video.
And here we are. Tires are back. Well, tires and wheels are back. I got them done at Discount Tire, but you know, you go anywhere that's nearby or or is cheap or whatever you want to do. Not gonna lie to you guys, this I am loving the meatiness of the tire. 265 on an 8x9 is a perfect tire. Now these are directional, you can tell by the way these are set up. Also there's a arrow that you can't see right now on the tire, and when you order these it says they're directional, but I'm loving the meat. All right, let's get the rest of them and then we'll... Ooh, that's awesome. Love it. And then we'll put them on to see if they clear the stock suspension. If they don't, I do have coilovers. Coilovers have been sitting there for quite some time, and we're gonna get those installed and put these on, but we'll see if they clear the suspension. We know they clear the brakes now, but we're gonna see if the actual suspension itself is gonna hit and if there's any rubbing in the back. I'm not concerned about the rubbing in the front for now, mainly because of the stock ride height. It's high enough for it to not rub or do anything. So let's get this put up there. Actually, I don't want to forget to do this for you guys, so before I swap them over, here's the 18 by 8.5 with a 15 mil spacer. These are 35 offset. The poke on this is literally just slight. And then on the new wheel, it's just a hair a little bit more than this one. So not half bad, once again. All right, now let's get to it. And sure enough, they did rub in the back. Just slight. When you do a pretty decent bump, it would rub. So I took it to MXPI as I mentioned I would. My buddy Sid and his team kicked the ass and got it all said and done for me. And also I did get the coilover set up as well. So now let's take a look at the car and how it sits.
I mentioned that the coilovers are already on the car. That video is coming up next. Obviously, I'm going to show you how I did it, not necessarily if it was right or not, but that is the next video that is coming up. As for the wheels, like I said, the biggest thing that I'm taking away out of this is that not all wheels are going to be created equal. Certain offsets are not going to be the same as other offsets, and I think that all has to do with, I guess, how the actual center of the wheel is manufactured, because I noticed with the Koenig center of the wheel, there is so much more spacing on that center where the lug nuts or the studs go, where pretty much the center cap would go. There's just so much more spacing that it sits a lot further away from the actual caliper, and then you just get so much more. Because like I said, I'm certain that I can run a 30, if not a 32 millimeter offset on those Koenigs, the Ultraforms that I have, and they would still clear those brakes. Maybe just barely, but they would clear them. And with any other wheel like the NK Ragens that I picked up that I had to return, those definitely would have not fit, because the 35 was sitting on top of, it wasn't even close to sitting flush with the actual brake rotor face part, or whatever you want to call it, the center hub. And those 100% would have had to have been a 25 or a 26 millimeter offset. So clearly it's all about how the wheels are manufactured. So in my personal opinion, that's unfortunate, because now it's kind of one of those things where you have to do trial and error. You have to buy wheels, try them out. If they don't work, return them, and then try out some other ones, which is really, it sucks. I really wish that these companies would kind of do it similarly, so we don't have to guess, because a lot of times when you have to return wheels, you are going to pay a restocking fee, and that's going to hurt. And then on top of that, if you didn't buy them from a store, but you actually had to ship them via UPS or whatever, FedEx, that's also going to cost you, because a lot of times you have to pay for the shipping back. So yeah, that's kind of my takeaway here. But however, overall, the 18x9 with the 25 offset fit very good in the back. There was need of fender roll in the back and a slight pull, just a slight, and I'm talking about very slight. I'm not talking about a huge pull in the back. In the front, however, as you guys can tell, not as how can we put it? Not as good as we wanted it to, because the fenders are pretty thin, so you can only pull them so much. So in the front, we definitely rolled and pulled as much as we could, but that's about it. So there is still some poke, and obviously the best way to get rid of that outside of pulling the fenders and rolling the fenders is going to be a camber adjustment. And if you don't have camber adjustment on these cars, it's going to be very difficult without a coilover setup that has camber plates. That's going to be a little tough, because there's not really much of a suspension support for these cars, at least not for the sedans. But from what I understand, the sedans and the coupes have the same suspension setup. So yeah, you're going to have to pick up some coilovers that give you camber plates that'll give you at least that 2 to 3 degrees of camber adjustment, so you can have that little poke that you have to completely get rid of that. But that's really about it. And a lot of talking here at the end, but I really wanted to get my thoughts out about the actual wheels and what you probably want to be looking at. Once again, you don't have to go this setup if you don't have the big brakes. If you don't have the big brakes, you can go 18 by 8.5. You could go 18 by 8.5 with like a 30 or a 25 millimeter offset, and you're going to be good. They should actually sit really good on the car. I would say if you can, go with like a 18 by 8.5 with like a 32. 32 offset, I would say, would be pretty good. Even really a 35 wouldn't be bad, and I would run a 255 tire on that. It's going to give you that meaty look. It'll give you plenty of
wheel and tire, and then obviously grip and all that. So 255 is max you want to go on an 8.5 wheel. So if you do a 18 by 8.5 with a 255 tire, you got some coilovers. You're not gonna have to. You're honestly not gonna have to. You might need to fender roll, but you're definitely not gonna have to pull fenders, and you won't need camber adjustment. So those will clear. Yeah, 18 by 8.5, 35. Mine cleared perfectly fine. When I had those, granted, I did have a 235 tire, but I think even with a 255, you should be fine. There should be no issues with rubbing. But that's it. I am looking at some other wheels maybe later on in the future to pick up on this car. Something with NK. I don't remember the actual model numbers, but they were 18 by 9 wheels and they were 30 offset. Once again, it's a different design, so maybe they'll fit a little bit better, maybe they'll clear, you know, who knows. It's a tough call on that, but for now I'm very happy with it. I was concerned, like I said, with the design of the wheel, but I actually like it overall how it looks. I do prefer that it was either a 5-spoke setup, but the 7's not bad. The Ragin, the NK Ragin would have been pretty cool too. I do like that European style, and I think that would have looked good on these cars, but it is what it is. I am still very happy. Love the meaty tire. The 265 tire looks amazing on an 18 by 9. That's also the max tire width you want to go on this type of wheel. And that's it. That's all I got. That's it. We're gonna stop there. I will have to say this though. Like I said, I already did the coilovers while recording this, and the grip level between the tires and the coilovers is amazing. So stay tuned for that video because that's gonna be a good one. I'm gonna take you guys for a little drive on that one. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.